What's up guys, it's me Ali, and I got great news. If you want to push with Whirlwind, but you don't want to do the whole Solik thing, you don't like it, like myself, I'm not really into the Solik thing. I know it was better for pushing, but I just couldn't, I played Solik way too long, I didn't want to bother with it, it was the lowest damage, right? But now, that's no longer true. Resolve stat shenanigans are upon us. And you can use it on Whirlwind. On stream, I'm gonna be honest, on stream, I kinda dismissed it a bit, because I thought since you couldn't stack it up on bosses, it would just be kinda dead, because you couldn't use it on bosses for pit or tower. Turns out, bosses don't actually do that often. Whenever you're fighting a boss, you barely lose stacks. So since you don't lose them that often, every like a minute or so, whenever you lose a couple of them, you just go to a group of ads, build them back up again, go back to the boss, right? It's not that big of a deal, so it kinda just works. Do keep in mind though, every time you enter combat, you'll need to build that back up. If you enter a town or something like that, you instantly lose the stacks. So you can't just pre-build stacks for bosses and stuff like that. This is not really an issue, because this build just kinda one-shots any boss. It's only an issue for Mephisto. Mephisto, this setup, you get hit, you die on Mephisto basically, because you have no way to build stacks on Mephisto. That being said, anything out of that, you can easily do like pit 140. I think I have a bit of footage on screen right now of me just doing a 140. And I barely take any damage. Even when fighting explodey enemies and the spark enemies, which is the deadliest enemy affix on pit, on tower, anything like that, the spark enemy is one, if not the deadliest one. You see that one, you just avoid it. I was still able to tank the spark and explosions. I barely survived, granted, right? I barely survived. But I did survive on a 140 without Solig. So, you know, the build can still... I think I got like 100 or so hit there. My damage is a bit lacking, because currently I think I only have like 70%, 60-70% crit chance. Because I completely bricked my build around to actually test the survivability. Because damage-wise, you have the damage. I already know the damage the build can do, right? I just needed to test if it was viable to survive or not, and turns out it is. That being said, there's a couple of changes I did have to make to the build. First of all, the aspects, right? We're gonna have to run the Glyn's Anvil aspect, and you also have to run the Dominance aspect. Dominance, together with the Serun, the wolves, if you don't know, they apply vulnerable and they freeze enemies. So they just give you vulnerable uptime, and they also give you the CC that you need for for dominance, which is just an insane amount of value from a single rune, right? Now, this is all good, but to make it work, you do need to get the resolve stack. So as you can see, you get the temper, you GA it, you masterwork it. Each of them gives you 12 resolve stacks. On the helmet, you have two options here. Either you go for resolve stacks and then you have to fix crit somewhere if you want to be tankier, or you give up a bit on the resolve stacks, you're a bit squishier, but you can like maybe save a temper on a weapon or something when it comes to crit chance, right? Because you're losing 6% there. So up to you there. But regardless, something you're gonna have to do, regardless of anything, you're gonna drop Starless, as you see here. No Starless. The reason is you really want to get cooldown, because on the build that we are playing right now, before the changes, you're proccing Unstoppable with the Ja rune. Thing is, you already need to run the wolves, and you kind of really want to run Kef for survivability, because the build is tanky, but it's really hard to get regen. Regen is really hard, so having shields... just, you know, you don't need regen if the damage you're taking is on the shields, right? So being able to run K is just incredibly good. You can proc it often with back, right? It's really easy for you to proc it because you're Whirlwind. Nice. That's just how it goes. So to make sure we actually can proc Unstoppable 40 bolts, I'm fairly certain, especially if you're not running Starless, I don't see any way that you can actually get enough resource if not 40 volts. It is what it is. But you need enough cooldown to get Iron Skin down to 8.5. Mine is 8.69. Nice. But ideally 8.5 at that point. 8.69, sometimes I feel like my Fury goes down a bit too much. I never fully run out of Fury, but I do feel that every like 9 seconds that can happen sometimes. 8.5 is probably a better spot, but this kind of works, so it's a better number, of course. The way you have to do it though is you have to get GA cooldown on both rings, right? And you also have to have GA cooldown on your Banished Lords, which is gonna be hard unless whenever I wake up tomorrow, we actually can farm Banished Lords, and getting one with GA cooldown is actually not that hard. Hopefully, you know, that they did say, by the way, they did say on the patch notes, they did say they were gonna do that. Why it's not in the game yet, who knows? Maybe they just forgot. Copium, right? And then you do have to run one cooldown temper. As you can see, I have it here on the Banished Lords. It makes capping Limitless Rage on single target a bit tricky. Sometimes you just don't get lucky and you don't proc it, especially since you can't be running the 200 mace expertise. I've been running it just for testing, but ideally you kind of want to run the 200 axe expertise because more crit chance. Crit chance is kind of hard without Starless. I have to fix crit chance right now because I'm not crit capped, right? I'm still not 100% sure how we gonna, you know, finish this build up. The main things are the resolve stacks, right? And getting cooldown for the Iron Skin. Not, by the way, the cooldown not only helps with Iron Skin, but also gives you better time on Warcry and Challenging Shout, which is very nice for damage and for tryability a bit, because Challenging Shout, right? The other change we do make on the build, to finish this video off, I don't want to make this way too long than I need to. Whenever I actually get the build fully online, I might do an update video. I thought the last one was going to be the last video. And then they just, oh, we're gonna enable an aspect that can give you 85 damage reduction. This is totally balanced. What could go wrong? Anyway, the change we did... Okay, I have these guys the other way around, but regardless. You swap Exploit for Challenger. You don't need Exploit for Vulnerable anymore, right? Because you have the Wolves. The Wolves, insane value. Anyway, you swap it for Challenger. You'll get a bit more damage, you get a bit more strength, which is nice. And that's just how the way it goes. Normally you would have Challenger over here, but it doesn't really matter. These two are mostly interchangeable anyway. Man, that's gonna be it, guys. Let me know how you feel. I know I said I'll make a video about the war plans. It's coming. I kinda have to make this one first, because I know people are gonna ask, like, oh, the resolve stack, are you doing the resolve? Like, yes, we're doing it. Here you go. We have the... It's here. It's work in progress, right? It's work in progress there. Don't tell me, like, if you make this and it doesn't work for you, work in progress, all right? You need to understand what's going on here to actually make it work, right? Don't just swap to it with like no GAs on max resolve and whatever, and then you just keep dying and you say the build is actually not tanky, because you know you need to actually know what you're doing. I'm gonna eventually, right now the explanation is very simple. I just wanted to get this out there because I know people would ask. I'm eventually gonna flesh this out and explain everything properly. For now, the video is gonna be it. The video is gonna be everything you have. Whenever I make an updated video guide, I'll probably also fully update the planner. If I do end up making a video guide, I'll still think if I'm gonna make one or not, if it's needed or not. But yeah, this setup will eventually, almost for sure, swap the Overpowered Whirlwind, because it's the same one, but just tankier. But since it changes a lot, it changes a lot of gear. For now, I'm keeping both of them. But if you're playing Overpowered Whirlwind, you know, it's easier to swap to. If you're playing Salig, sucks to be you, I guess. It is what it is. The Salig players are not sleeping too good tonight, I suppose. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I'm not gonna drag this out anymore. I want to go to sleep. So yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a like, leave me a comment telling me what you think about this. Do you think this is gonna stay in the game or not? I think it's busted, honestly. I mean, they knew what they're signing up to. People are already kind of, you know, theory crafting this, so they knew. I don't think it's gonna be removed from the game, at least not this season. So enjoy it for this season. And yeah, see you guys tomorrow. Let me know how you feel about this. Bye bye.